Yeah, hi there. In these comments, I'm going to just use your initials for privacy purposes, Z. And let's take a look at your situation. So you said, I'd like to enroll in your online course, especially the speaking and the writing areas. You say, could you please give me some examples or samples from your previous students that you taught in those two sections? Yes. What I'll do is I will give you a link to my VoxyPop discussion group so you can listen to some of my students who are completing independent and integrated speaking practice tests today. I will put that link in this email. Now, number two, I also will give you a sample of my students who have completed either an independent or integrated writing practice test. Now, you got to remember though, my students all have different levels and abilities here. Some of my students are happy with a 75 or 80 on the TOEFL. Other students that I teach, they want to score over 100. So the speaking and the writing samples that you may read, I mean, they're going to indicate a varying level of academic English language proficiency, which means someone who is interested in a lower TOEFL score, they will have more problems in their language use, particularly in their grammar and the vocabulary. And then some of my students who want higher TOEFL scores, they will have fewer problems in their grammar and the vocabulary, for example. All right, so anyway, your next question is, how many days do I have to wait before I receive feedback from my prospective test from you when I make payment? I can't give you exactly what happens every time, but generally when you complete an independent or integrated writing practice test on my website, it usually takes me about 24 hours, maybe 1 to 2 days before you will get your feedback. And your agreement is once you become one of my students and you make your payment, do not submit more than one writing practice test each day. Because if you do more than that, that's going to make me way too busy. But if you do one per day, that's fine. And I also have a TOEFL IBT writing specialist, and once you send me an email of a practice test, a writing practice test I need to grade, I will send it over to him, and then he will do it. He will either give you a score that day or the day after that. Now, the next thing, for speaking, you have a good question. You say, how many practice tests do you grade? 1 per day. You can submit 1 speaking and 1 pronunciation practice test each day that you're one of my students. So you say the speaking test has 6 sections. Do you consider each section as 1 feedback? Yes. Yes, I do. So if you do 6 different speaking tasks, I'll grade those over 6 days. I'll give you feedback over 6 days with those. All right, now I do have one more option you might be interested in, is I do offer a full-length IBT practice test for an additional price, in addition to the $38 that you're spending, and you can learn more about that once you become one of my students. But if you complete a full-length IBT practice test, right, you will get feedback on both writing tasks, you'll get feedback on all 6 speaking tasks, and it's all one price. So that would just be considered one. So you can learn more about that. Once you become one of my students, you can go to the 8th section of my course, and it talks about full-length and section-specific IBT practice tests, and you can learn more about that service. All right, Z? So again, in this email, I will include a link to my VoxyPop discussion group so you can see the kind of feedback I give to my students who complete pronunciation and speaking practice tests. Secondly, I will include a sample of a student who submitted a practice test over the last month or so you can see that also. All right, thank you.